Y'all, life's just been really full lately. And honestly, it's the best. I haven't been gaming much recently. I've needed, frankly, a much needed break after the Steam Next Fest, where I played like over 50 demos on top of beating Don't Stop Girly Pop around that time, on top of getting into Unreal Tournament 2004. It was just a lot, and I kind of needed a break, and that's how it goes with a lot of hobbies. I've been into my home lab, getting self-hosting stuff set up. I've got some videos on that stuff over on Epos Vox, and I have some really exciting stuff coming for that in the future as well. I traveled for a few days for my kiddos' spring break. We just kind of traveled the tri-state area of Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois, and saw some incredibly beautiful sights, beautiful sunsets, hikes, water, caves, plains, hills and mountains. Got some beautiful photos. I have a whole video dedicated to that experience, probably releasing on Epos Vox tomorrow, but it's already been live on the forums. If you want to watch it now, I'll have the link in the video description. Super, super proud of that video. It was super nice to disconnect and get away from everything that's been going on lately, and to just be one with nature, and to not think about all the little things of gaming and tech and whatever. And just remember what fun is. I don't know. Things have been busy, though. But by being busy, my gaming time, and any hobby, really, but especially gaming, since that's what we talk about here, is that much more precious. And as a result, it's that much more fun. I have so much more fun with it when I keep limitations on it. I used to go back and forth with this all the time, especially because I run a gaming channel here. I run a gaming podcast with BBK Dragoon called the Dualcom Podcast, and our partner podcast, the Party Chat Podcast. And I kind of get hard on myself for not playing enough games, for not going to beat games, to review more games, because I'm kind of good at it sometimes, and I want to do more of it, and I want more bylines and whatever, but I also like keeping gaming in enough of a box that it doesn't take over my life. And that's a hard lesson I had to learn a while back. We might get into that in a Patreon episode of Dualcom, or maybe on a normal episode. I don't know yet. But there's a lot of value to be had by keeping your hobbies kind of in one place rather than taking over your life. As far as what I have been playing, my kiddo's been all about, I got my wife a Tamagotchi for Christmas, and it quickly became my kiddo's present. And he's been all about it. We're kind of looking for alternatives that he could play on his DS or on our Switch, or something that is a similar pet take care of style thing, but doesn't chew through the like CR2032 batteries that this thing is going through every couple days now. There was a Tamagotchi game on the original Game Boy, but that's not super accessible. And then there was Nintendo Dogs and Cats on the 3DS, but it was only dogs on the DS, and my kiddo doesn't like dogs. So we're still kind of struggling. We picked out a few games to try. And then he's been back in Minecraft again. We're taking a break from Mario Kart Double Dash since I've unlocked everything for us now, which was pretty rewarding, honestly. I'm ready for a break from the game, but I've never, especially older games, like I was never someone who went through and was able to unlock everything as a kid. I always struggled way too much. I didn't have the time to put into it, and I just used cheat codes or something. So to unlock everything legit, just like actually challenging myself, was pretty rewarding. And then my kiddo has also started Mario Odyssey and Yoshi's Crafted World. And I very much see the DNA of Astrobot in Mario Odyssey, but it's still not the game for me. Mario's physics and jumps and everything is just too loose and floaty. I thought that was just a Super Mario 64 thing, and then we played the new Super Mario Bros. U or whatever on the Switch, and I hated that, especially with all three of us on the screen trying to keep up with each other. And then Mario Odyssey is the same way. It just feels too imprecise. So I remain an Astrobot stan, but that's okay. I've been really struggling with an addiction lately. Those of you who followed me for any length of time, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's probably not what you're thinking about. But I had a good month and a half, like cold turkey, completely quit, completely broke away from it, and was really proud of myself. And then while we were traveling, I wound up deliberately, with the decision of myself and my wife, going back into it. And so I've been keeping up with it kind of day to day. I thought this would be it. I've learned a lot of lessons about it. Maybe I can talk about it in a separate video, but that was something that I didn't expect to be a big downer while I'm doing everything else. But now that I'm keeping up with the day to day, I'm not letting it get me down anymore. Like, it's fine. I've been keeping up with Unreal Tournament. Unreal Tournament 2004 is still awesome. I have a video coming, if not this week, next week. It's already done. So it is up on the forums again. With BBK doing some Unreal Tournament 2004 tips, which is crazy to be making in 2026. And then I got a freaking a way that you can host your server for free video that's paired with that going live on EposVox. But aside from Unreal Tournament 2004, BBK made a video. He's been diving back in for a couple weeks now, just super casually playing Overwatch. And my wife caught on to the fact that he was talking me up about it and really wanted to get back into it. My wife and I played Team Fortress 2 back in the day, and then we played hundreds of hours of Overwatch together, and then kind of took a hard break with Overwatch 2 and all the craziness with that, and put a few hundred hours into Marvel Rivals together, and then that got bad. And then I took my whole multiplayer shooter break, but we've been missing that kind of experience together. And we tried going back in last June. That was the last time I had launched the game. And I had a miserable time. My wife actually was doing all right, but because I was so downer about it, she ended up not sticking with it a whole lot. I felt it was just miserable. I couldn't keep up with it. The new perks, the new heroes, it was just all too much. And I was still in my big zealot, like, no, live service bad. I'm not going to play ever. And I'm out on the other side of that. I have a video on this whole breakup with the multiplayer shooters linked in the description if you missed my philosophy on that. Also, a blog post about it on gamer.dad. I'll have that linked in the description below as well. We tried it again. It is now Overwatch, formerly known as Overwatch 2, which was formerly known as Overwatch. And it is ridiculous. They have a ton more heroes. It is a mess. But getting back in, it felt like the old days a little bit with my wife. We were playing the classic maps. We kept getting mostly the older heroes we knew. There were a couple of the newer ones that some of them I didn't get at all, but then some of them actually felt really fun, and I looked forward to exploring them more. We always jump back in with mystery heroes just because it's super casual and we get to kind of taste everything. And we put a few hours in last night, and it was a blast. Now, I am kind of annoyed that I am having as much fun as I am with it, because I wanted to be like vindicated. No, this thing sucks. BBK was wrong, blah, blah, blah. But like, really, the thing is, you have to keep it at an arm's distance with anything. The more you get invested in it, the less fun it can be. And that applies to any hobby, any game, any side of your hobby. If you just obsess over one little detail of it or one part of it, or you make the hobby itself your entire life, it stops being fun. I am not going to get serious about Overwatch again. I'm not going to get into competitive play. I'm not even going to take quick play seriously. I'm probably going to stick with mystery heroes. I'm only going to jump into normal quick play if I want to stick with a specific hero to really learn them. Like there's one that's kind of like an evolved soldier called Imri, or I'm assuming that's how you say it, that I had never played before. That was a lot of fun, and I might play quick play to learn that more. But like my wife had made a joke about, okay, we got to get 27 matches in the next week or whatever for this mini battle pass thing. And I was like, I will alt F4 right now. I am not going to hold myself to that. And it was a joke. Like, we're not really going to do it. But that's how we used to play. Like, we would grind for all the battle passes, all the things, all the challenges, because my wife is very challenge and objective oriented. And it burned us out. And so as long as I keep it at an arm's distance, if I keep it as something that is casual and just a few hours every week or two, any game can really be fun in that way, unless it's just bad. And that's the thing. By not being over invested in anything, it's a lot easier to have fun when you have limited time. When you have limited time and your fun experience is so precious, especially once you remove the pressure of that. My wife and I had not really played games together for over a month. We had been on a roll. We beat Horizon Zero Dawn. We had been playing with the kiddo. We'd been playing a bunch of stuff, and then we got super busy after the holidays and getting transitioned back to school and all that jazz, and we haven't been gaming a lot recently, and we've been missing it. And it felt way too frictiony to jump back into the story game, so we just fired up Overwatch. And there was no pressure. If it sucked, we were going to bounce. And it was that much easier to just slide in, have fun, and not feel too stressed about it. But by reducing that pressure, if something isn't jiving, when you have a limited amount of time to play, it makes it that much easier to just cut it out, to be like, nah, this ain't it. And again, the same thing with any hobby. When you have limited time, when you remove the pressure from it and simply just treat it as precious time, it is so much easier to be like, you know what, I'm not really feeling this part of it. I'm just not going to engage. And it's so freeing. It makes everything just so much more fulfilling, especially when you are busy. Like, staying busy, I think in a certain part of your life is seen as a bad thing. We grow up, we spend our time as kids and teenagers and whatever, having the entire world dictate what our day-to-day looks like. We got school, we've got after-school activities, we've got commutes back and forth. We've got chores and homework and bedtimes. Most of us anyway. And we have limited times to do things, and we get real fed up with being told how to live our lives. And then I think so many of us reach that adulthood where we move out on our own, early 20s, late teens, early 20s, whatever time period that is for you. And it's like, I can make my own schedule. I can do whatever I want because I have to live with the consequences. And despite the consequences, we often are so willing to just deal with them because it means doing whatever we want. And that means overindulging on the hobbies. And sometimes that is valuable. Sometimes that is amazing. I remember moving out into my first apartment, streaming Destiny and Rocket League all the time, doing multiplayer games with buddies, playing and streaming constantly at first because I was both kind of escaping. Video games are really good escapism earlier in your life. I was escaping the stresses of the world, the stresses of moving out. I was dealing with the loneliness of living on my own for a little bit. And I was fully embracing being able to do whatever I wanted when I wanted, and that there were no limitations on anything. And that felt amazing. But somewhere along the way, over the next 10 years after that, it stops feeling amazing. And I think so many people get stuck in the rut of trying to recreate that spark, of trying to chase how it felt, either when it was first amazing when you did have no limitations, or without realizing it when you did have limitations, trying to chase that spark you had back then. And you can't chase that without reintroducing at least some of the elements that were at play in your life at the time. And it is often seen in certain phases of our lives, having a busy life of being a bad thing, because then you can't do all the fun stuff that you want. We try to avoid doing the things that we need to do or that we should do to fill our cup in other ways, be that exercise, socialization, cooking for ourselves, still learning and exploring the world, whatever it is. We try to avoid the things that feel less good in order to just do the things that we want to do. But in reality, the things that we want to do so much are only so special because we can't do them all the time. And when we can do them all the time, and we just ignore everything else too, we're not taking care of ourselves, our bodies, our space, our relationships, our family, respecting our time on this planet. We're not filling our cup, and the thing that we thought was super special and amazing, we're just drying up alongside it. A life that is more full is inherently more fulfilling, as long as you're filling it with things that are good for you. This weekend, I had honestly planned on gaming a lot more. I was super stoked. We had been traveling all last week, and then we had to get back to school with the kiddo, and he's been doing swim class and some other stuff. I was expecting to get a bunch of game time in this weekend, and instead it was super busy. We had the rally, No Kings rally going on Saturday, went to that, took some pictures there, filmed with a Digicam, which was wild, and had to, recuperate from all that. I did some house chores. I finished a mudroom or utility mudroom project that I'd worked on a year prior. I finally finished that and got some chores done. I've been taking care of me and my ADHD especially. I've been self-treating with caffeine. I've been kind of self-medicating with caffeine this whole time, but I've been using not reliable sources for it before, whereas now I'm using actual caffeine tablets. This is, if you have ADHD, talk to your doctor, talk to your psychiatrist, a therapist, whatever. This is facilitated by my therapist, approved by my doctor, is not gonna screw me up. And while there are better medications to handle ADHD, I've had issues with that in the past, and I'm still not really set back up with that. Plus, for some of the big ones, there's all kinds of shortage issues right now. And so I've been self-medicating it with ADHD, with caffeine. And when it clicks right, it doesn't always click right, but when it clicks right, I feel like on top of the world. I feel like I can actually get things done that I otherwise would just put off. And so like I said, I finished a mudroom project. I've been working on hanging some picture frames that I've been trying to hang in our house for a year. Yesterday was the rally and all that. Today, my wife and my brother-in-law were planting some stuff. I cleaned out my shed. My shed has been a dumpster fire ever since the fall when we packed everything up for the winter. And I want to get back to using my workshop. I want to film building cables and doing cool maker projects again. And I had just set up last March a multicam setup for me to use in there. And then we had restored my wife's childhood wood bunk bed system for my kiddo's birthday, which involved sanding it, staining it, all that jazz. And that ate up the shed space. And then it got summer and I just didn't feel like it anymore. And I never got back to the workshop project. So today I spent a good amount of time. It was nice and warm outside, clearing out the shed, finally installing little trim pieces on our storm doors that I installed like 4 years ago that have been kicking around the shed. I just felt like I could do it today, and I did it. It was amazing. And then all through all that, I was grilling out. I used both of my grills, my pellet grill smoker and my normal grill, made some ribs that absolutely melted and fell off the bone. My wife and brother-in-law honestly couldn't believe it as they were trying to cut it up. They were just like, this looks like the food commercials. This doesn't make any sense. Good fall off the bone ribs. Got some homemade mac and cheese, some baked potatoes on the grill, and some asparagus on the grill. Ugh, it was such a good dinner. I love cooking, and that is one of those things that just fulfills me. It makes me happy. Cooking has been a way to explore both my picky eating and my sensitivities with food and texture and taste and drinks, and learn the ingredients and watch Good Eats and all that stuff. And then I've also been building my own recipes. I've been sharing a lot of that journey on the neurospicy.cooking blog and YouTube channel linked below. I honestly haven't posted to it much since last summer, but I do plan on getting caught up with it. I've got some fun experiments to share. But in my day-to-day life, whether it's cooking, photography, I've been all obsessed with my photography lately and exploring digicams and camcorders. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I got the samples of a book I wrote for. It's the 32-Bit Library Greatest Hits Volume 1. I've got a personal story in there that I wrote. I got the physical samples, pretty sick. I'll have a link if you can still get these. It was like a Kickstarter thing. I'll have a link in the description. And speaking of that, I am working on some more physical media stuff to sell on my shop. I've got my photo book, but I'm going to do like a... I don't want to spoil anything. I have a few things planned there in like old school analog, well, not all analog, but physical media in that realm that I'm excited to list on the shop just to do it. Having a multitude of things to do, being outside more, getting that vitamin D, getting the exercise in, and taking care of my relationships and my house, I am more fulfilled in myself day to day in my day-to-day life, and therefore I'm less dependent on games to make me happy and to hit all of those buttons to provide the dopamine or the serotonin or whatever for myself, the endorphins. I get that through everything else, and so games get to be their own thing that they can fulfill that role of so much easier because everything else is already taken care of. This was a mess of a video. I know people are going to be really not happy about me showing Overwatch footage. I know the BDS boycotts are probably still going on with Microsoft stuff. I'm doing the best I can. We're all navigating this space. I know, but just wanted to share where I'm at. I know I haven't really posted lately on this channel other than the podcast. Speaking of my forums, I had mentioned I have videos going live there. If you missed it, I have a blog post and a forum post. I'll have linked in the description. I've basically replaced YouTube with my own self-hosted video hosting on my forums. And this has relieved a ton of pressure in myself for packaging, for playing to the algorithm, for monetization. And I'm making videos for me first and self-hosting them on the forums, and then I'm syndicating to YouTube later. I've been preaching this forever. I'm finally doing it. So demodisc.zone is the forums. Go check it out. I've got lots of stuff there. We've had some wonderful discussions. Some people have come over from the podcast lately. I want to see you there if you're interested in chatting. And if not, or if you just want to lurk, totally fine. You use the web how you want to use it. Remember to be kind, rewind.